Well, probably the biggest highlight of the entire road trip. It wasn't Kirby's dominant performance. It wasn't Cal Raleigh going crazy over the weekend. It's got to me, Randy Johnson, game 2 in the booth down at Chase Field. Wouldn't you say, Hanno?
Yeah, I mean, it was just interesting. I mean, it wasn't interesting. It was awkward, but hilarious. You could tell he was definitely triggered and affected by the notion that he didn't give it his all there, and that he was breaking down. And before they finally sent him packing, to Houston, and he holds Howard Lincoln responsible.
Yeah, it's funny because Carl Tart had asked me. He goes, "What?" He just texted me randomly. This must have been when they made the announcement for Randy Johnson getting his number retired. And he said, "Why did it take him so long?" And I said, "Well, we're going to talk about it on our podcast." I said, it's really a long story. And when we talked about Randy first getting his number retired, we played his video, that 3-minute video, and he was using words like this ownership and the other ownership, and he was beating around the bush, but he was planting seeds that something was coming next now. And I know you listened to this on you were watching the television broadcast, so that's what this is right here. Uh, there he is. Got Danny O'Neill's tweet. Yeah, we quoted. We use this quote at the beginning. So basically, when he was in the booth with them, this is a great picture too. It's got Angie and Goldie like looking into the camera with that. Like, we're not endorsing what he's saying, but we're listening. We're not part of this. We're not part of this. So we don't want to get any trouble. Look at Angie.
Yeah,
Goldie
and they
played
got
scrum.
someone in their ear going, "All right, let's wrap it up. Wrap, wrap." You
They're
know.
just like, we got to pivot. We got to pivot.
I mean, I give
Um,
Angie a lot of credit. She went on with her question after he rambled that off, and everybody was like, "Whoa!" And she, stumbled over her words a little bit. I mean, I would do the same thing too, but she got the question out and changed the subject really quickly. It's not an easy transition in that instance at all. But yeah, that was funny. It was classic.
However, he is wearing a Mariners polo on the broadcast, even though we're in Arizona. I mean, if there's any place that he's going to flex and he's going to feel comfortable, and you're like, hey, you're at my fucking house. I am a Hall of Famer. I won a World Series here. I won multiple Cy Youngs here. They love me here. And he's basically saying, I just didn't feel that love, especially after I left. And he wanted to clear that air too, that it obviously wasn't his choice to leave there. And whatever he said there on the broadcast, he took it over to the radio broadcast. And as you know, people can get a little looser on the radio. And let me tell you, the energy with Rick Riss, Mr. Positivity, Mister, I'm gonna set you up for some softballs, okay? Rick Riz, I think he started off by going, "Well, we got Randy in the booth, and not only do we have Randy, we actually have 2 Randys in the booth today." And he wasn't lying, because in the booth with them, and you sent me the picture, I did hear him say this. And we'll pull this up right now too. In the booth with Rick Riz and Randy Johnson was Randy's big head character that runs around the bases. So at this point, I mean, look at this picture. Rick Riz, double thumbs up. You even put this out like Randy Johnson smiling with Rick Riz prior for going in on the kill for Lincoln, Howard Lincoln on the radio. So he definitely went on the kill because right away he sets him up. He goes, Randy, look, you're a Hall of Famer. You're a Mariners Hall of Famer. They're retiring your number. And instead of going like, yes, I'm honored, right away, he basically just did the same routine where he was like, "Yes, Kevin Martinez and John Stanton have been working on this for a while. I don't know what the problem with basically was with the other with Howard Lincoln." And Rick Riz just immediately was like, "Oh yeah, that 1995 team." He's getting into that stuff, and he's like, people think, and Rick Riz is trying to do the broadcast too. And it was a quick inning. And I'm sure the producers are like, "Well, thank God." I think there's a quick out right away. And Randy Johnson like cuts him off while he's doing the broadcast. And he's like, he goes, and I just want, I didn't leave. People don't understand. I didn't leave. I was traded. He was like, and also, it was a year after I went. What I think he said, I went 21-4. So, and I was runner up in the Cy Young. So, if there was any doubt that I was old or I was, you know, damaged goods, you could have just looked back at that. And he was, and Rick Riz was like, "Yeah, it was a great year." And that 95 year, and he's like, "Yeah, and we." In 1995, he goes, "I just found this out. And it was really weird because he goes, I just found this out. It was a shortened season because we were coming out of the lockout, but I still made 30 starts. And out of those 30 starts, the team was 27-3. And we're going back, and he's like, Rick Riz jumps in there again and he's like, "Oh, yeah, that 1995 team." And he goes, "Yeah, if we, if us and the other guys and the collective people from the past didn't have those kinds of seasons back then, there wouldn't be anybody playing over there." And Rick Rose is like, "Yes, you're right. Some people say you guys saved baseball." And he goes, "Look, when I threw my first no hitter, there was only 20,000 people spread out through the kingdom. In 1995, we had 50,000 people, and I was trading for the guy they traded for me." So, he was definitely flexing in the booth. He had his big head. He was feeling himself, and I was loving every minute of it. And it was just like a sketch you would see where Rick Riz was doing everything he could possibly do to just sprinkle, just sugarcoating everything Randy was saying. Such a company guy.
Yeah, I mean, and besides, I don't know if I heard it this interview or just a while longer. Maybe it was when he got introduced and was that or it got announced he was going to be have his number retired. He also mentioned, besides the um, traded part that you were mentioning here, he also mentioned that he heard or thought another issue for him was why he didn't go into the Hall of Fame with a Mariner cap on. And you mentioned like from Carl, like why hasn't he had his number retired? I never once really assumed or took it personal or even thought that he would go in as a Mariner personally. I mean, he had a great career in Seattle, but he had an above average, unbelievable end to his career with world championships and multiple Cy Youngs with Arizona. So, I mean, I don't know who was upset or thought that or brought that up. I mean, do you have that same opinion about Randy going into the Hall of Fame wearing a Mariner hat?
No, I had no question in my mind he was going to pick Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, he had more Cy Youngs there. He had more success there. The Mariners gave up on him a bit early. We definitely, as a fan, we were definitely hurt by that, pissed off by that. I remember standing outside the stadium, not being able to get into the game when Randy Johnson came back and returned. I think it was like right when Safeco Field opened up. Could not get in the stadium. I
Do
don't know.
you yeah, do you remember where you were when he was traded from the Mariners? We were together.
Were we? Where were we? Remind me. Was I drunk?
We were at the Garden Block, Golden
Or-
Gardens.
Oh God, I do remember now. So I was
Yeah.
drunk. Um, Yeah, that was one that always always hurt, but I always remained a Randy Johnson fan. I mean, and we've talked about it before. Randy Johnson, one of the most prickly bastards, and he's always that way. He's just always been that way. I remember getting autographs from him as a kid outside the North uh, entrance, whatever B or A, the north end of the kingdom, and he'd be just so pissed off he had to sign autographs. But he'd sign them, but you'd have to walk with him. And then when he'd get to his car and open up his car and get in, that was the end of it. He's just always been a salty guy. I remember when he shoved the cameraman down when he was on the New York Yankees going to take his physical when they were signing him. I mean, this guy uh, owned the inside of the plate on people. He was, you know, a Nolan Ryan esque pitcher, and there's the famous story too where Nolan Ryan took him to dinner and straightened him up, and ever since then, since that moment, he turned into the big unit from there. And I mean, he was definitely one of those big sports enigmas, and I'm glad he's you know we already know he's in the Mariners Hall of Fame, but yeah, the 51 was definitely always a question of when and are they going to retire it, and are they going to retire both of them? How are they going to do that? Because
Yeah,
they
and
both were such big parts. Maybe Ichiro might have more of the numbers and the totals, that you know are make him stand out more, I guess. But Randy Johnson was on more playoff teams and had big playoff moments and clinching moments. Like we talked about it before, people want to point out Cal and Cal's clutch moments and Cal's clincher. And it's like Randy Johnson had the clinchers in the 90s. So a lot of people, especially the younger fans or the people that just joined on to be Mariners fans, might not know that.
yeah, I mean, and I was also interested too in trying to figure out, well, why hasn't Randy's number been retired? Do the Mariners have this prerequisite of you have to be in the Hall of Fame, you have to go into the Hall of Fame as a Mariner? But I'm certainly glad that he's getting his number retired. I think for sure it's great to have two 51s up there. They both deserve it, and it's awesome. So I'm actually excited for his day next year. It's going to be interesting to see if he is just getting this off his chest now, and or it would make it awkward if he brought this all up during his inauguration speech on the pitcher's mound with his teammates there. Um, you
I
know,
mean, if he goes a little bit Mike Salty, Michael Jordan.
yeah, and has Howard Lincoln, John Stanton, Kevin Martinez, off to his left sitting over there. That would be a little awkward, but I'm sure, you know, are they going to ask to see what he's going to say before he gives his speech? Is he going
Yeah,
to?
we're gonna need to see your speech, Randy, and we're going to have to put it on a teleprompter for you. Also, if you want to just hear the radio side, uh, this guy posted it. Coastal Cards at Coastal Cards Co. He has the. I don't know if he's the one who found it, but he
Yeah, it's him. He's the one who did it.
yeah, he screen recorded it. Genius. But you could go check out that 4 minute. I've been listening to it like like when you hear a new banger or something like that. Or, like when you're like, ooh, I really like this Sabrina Carpenter song, and you play it over and over. Oh no. But I've been listening to this. I like wash the dishes listening to it. I relax. I do yoga to it.
It's comical though, like you mentioned though, with Riz trying to steer it back, get the train back on the tracks, and change the subject, and Randy's not finished with his thought yet, and keeps on going. It's a classic.
I mean, this. I gotta look at this photo one more time. I mean, this is the madman right here. This like I'm about to just look at him smiling. I don't know if this was before or after he went in for the kill.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely the calm before the storm, that's for sure.
yeah, but that's a definite go. Check it out. I'm sure there's more to it, and like I'm glad Randy was like reiterating the fact. Hey, I didn't want to go anywhere. They didn't want to sign me. They wanted to get rid of me. That's why I left. So don't get mad at me that I went on and had a career, and why am I punished for it when you didn't want
Yeah, he mentioned that. You're right. He was not a free agent. He was traded. He made that very clear.
me? Yeah, and let's be fair. Griffey asked for a trade. A-Rod burned the Mariners and left. Uh, Randy Johnson did not ask for a trade. Ichiro, I don't even believe he asked for a trade. He was okay with a trade. He had a no trade clause, but seems like just honorable men wore number 51 for the Mariners.